Sure.
Get your beverage.
Yeah. I almost got a beer,
mug.
but I changed my mind at the last minute and just got a glass of water.
There you go. Either way, you're staying hydrated. So
That's true.
That's all that really matters, Jared. That's for sure. And I think staying hydrated might actually be step one of avoiding burnout. That's for sure, Jared.
That's actually a great point. That's a great point. Do you want the theme song?
Of course I do.
I mean, there's no better way to start it than with the
blood, the sweat, and the tears, Jared. I mean, the amount of burnout I got after trying to write this song, Jared, it took 77 hours, 28 minutes, and 42 seconds.
Your services do not go unrecognized.
Exactly.
We thank you here at the Untranslatable Podcast.
We try. Got to stay humble. That's the key, Jared. Stay
I just
humble.
I just got another political text as this song was playing.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable Podcast. We are here recording episode 245, I think. I don't know because I'm so burnt out with this podcast. I can't even keep track of how many episodes we are. Not really. Just kidding. Very happy to be here. And we are going to be talking about burnout today, whether that be with your job, your education. You get the senioritis as a senior in a high school or even a senior in college. I feel like it might happen in grad school too. I'm not sure if there's another grad school type of itis, a dissertation itis. I'm not really sure. But we're going to talk about burnout today and give some tips and tricks on how to hopefully get out of that burnout so you feel reinvigorated and ready to do your thing, whatever that thing may be. So my partner in crime and my good buddy Jared, without further ado, what is going on, buddy?
Hello. I really hope Chad has some tips and tricks. My plan was just to complain for an hour or so.
Wallow in self-pity?
Yeah. One of my favorite places to complain actually is Twitter. Untranslatable one, the number one.
Spread a little love.
I feel like I go through phases on Twitter, and the only place I really post are the untranslatable places, like Untranslatable Podcast on Instagram.
Spread a little love.
But I feel like I go through phases where I never post, and then where I'm like actively like posting and retweeting, and I'm in one of those phases right now. It feels good. But yeah, also, by the way, 5-star reviews would be great. That's a great way, by the way.
Spread a little love.
Please. To
all sorts
avoid,
of please and thank yous.
To avoid burnout is to get the accolades, makes it feel good with what you're doing. I have a question for you. Speaking of burnout, I heard this earlier today, and I was like, I wonder, I mean, this person definitely is probably experiencing some level of burnout, but is the vice president position currently held by Mike Pence, is that an essential worker job? Is he an essential worker?
I think most would argue that all politicians would be essential workers. I'm not so sure
Really?
I agree with that. I think a lot of people think that. Maybe not. I'm not sure, but yes and no. I mean, I think they could be quarantined and doing things virtually.
Yeah, what does he do? But the problem is, most of what he does is probably campaigning. That's probably part of the reason why they can't have him down. But yeah, anyway, sorry, I was just wondering that because a bunch of people in his on his team got the Rona, and they were having a conversation with whether or not he should be quarantining, and if his job, he's saying he's not going to.
The Kane Gang on Twitter.
The Kane Gang, yeah. Hey, leave him alone.
Isn't that what the tagline is now?
I think you might be right. I totally forgot about. I want to see what Herman Cain is saying. I haven't been to
the ghost of Herman Cain. You mean? Oh man,
is it the Kane Gang? I can't even find it.
I haven't been on Twitter in so long, dude. I've been trying to stay off of most social media.
Why?
I don't know, man. It just I feel like there are other things I can be doing with my time that are just more enjoyable than the old social media. Maybe I don't even know if I have Twitter on my phone anymore. Actually,
I think I'm going to, especially as winter approaches and these cold months approaches. I think I'm gonna get back into the piano. I think I have to.
Oh, you should.
I'm running out of activities to do because I played soccer from time to time. I would ride my bike, even go for walks and stuff like that. Virtually all that is not happening anymore. And now I'm like, I can already tell. I'm like, I need to do something. This is not good. This is not good. Let's see what Herman Cain has to say.
You got to get some kettlebells, my dude. You got one. Get a couple heavier ones and go to town. Just go to town.
Yeah, that's true. Herman Cain, it doesn't seem like has any comment on Rona recently. There's a lot of tweeting happening. The claim appear. Oh, geez.
Have you ever thought about that though, buddy? Like, what will happen to your social media after we?
No, because I don't tweet that much
from our journey of this life.
No, because I'm not that active, and then I guess also once I'm dead, does it really matter?
That's true. That's true.
I mean, clearly it doesn't matter to Herman Cain,
right?
But I don't think I mean, once you're dead, I mean, who cares anymore? You can do whatever you want.
Well, you won't be doing much anything.
Make up lies about me. Fine, sure, whatever. Do you want to do a rate the apology?
Oh, of course. I feel like that goes without asking, Jared.
I feel like we need some sort of theme song for this. It's definitely a segment.
Rate the apology. Something goofy.
Okay, I think that works. I wish I had a pen and I would write that down. All right, 7.
It's up here, man. Oh, you mean the exact time? Gotcha.
Yeah, it's up there for you. All right, let's do this. Rate the apology. Spanish newspaper denounced for Ansu Fati street seller comparison. Have you heard about this? Do you know who Ansu Fati is?
I do not know.
Ansu Fati is a soccer player for Barcelona. Football player for Barcelona. He's 17. He's from Spain. He's originally from Bissau, Guinea, but he's of Spanish nationality. And he's one of those young little wonderkind soccer players. You have to be at 17.
Prodigy, mate. A prodigy
on Barcelona. That's pretty impressive. Anyway, Spanish newspaper ABC has issued an apology to Barcelona forward Ansu Fati after their match report compared his pace to that of a black street seller fleeing the police.
Oh, jeez.
The 17-year-old put an impressive display in Barcelona's 5-1 victory over Ferencváros. That was pretty good.
Hit that ham horn.
On Tuesday night, where's Ferencváros? I've never even heard of that team.
I have
it
no
sounds
idea.
Spanish.
I mean, it's La Liga, isn't it?
No, it was Champions League.
Oh, maybe they're Portuguese.
Oh, could be. Let's see. They are Hungarian.
Oh,
okay,
wow,
so it's probably not a lisp. On Tuesday night in Champions League, scoring their second goal. Ansu Fati scored their second goal. However, the aftermath of the victory was soured by the paper's description of the Guinea-Bissau-born Spanish international. ABC's report said Ansu in full flight has something of a gazelle about him, of a very young black street seller that you suddenly see running along Paseo de Gracia. When someone shouting water to warn other street sellers announced to warn other street sellers is in like the little square, the brackets. But I think that water is like something they yell to warn other street sellers is what he's getting at. Right. Announced that the local police have arrived. So now this kind of thing does not happen because for Ada Colau, the left-wing mayor of Barcelona. Left-wing mayor. They have mayors on their team? Is that what they call, like, the captain of a position or something?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
The criminals are the police and not the street sellers, who no longer have to run away. It is also true that without tourists, business is rather weak. ABC is known in Spain as a newspaper that favors right-wing political parties and is an advocate of their policies.
Fox News, watch out.
This is The Guardian, by the way. The author Salvador Sostres issued an apology.
You tried way too hard on that pronunciation for that one.
Salvador Sostres issued an apology of sorts, as they put it, on the ABC website on Thursday morning. But local media reports suggest Barcelona may take legal actions over the matter. Interesting.
Uh-oh.
You ready for the apology?
Yep.
As I attempted to highlight the beauty of Ansu's movement in his class as a young player, some expressions were interpreted as racial discrimination. That could not be further from my intentions or opinions, which are very favorable towards the player, as I have always expressed in my match reports since he made his debut. I deeply apologize for the misunderstanding and to those who may have been offended. The report. Okay. Do you want to let's take a pause? And that's the apology.
That's
Do you want me to reread? Did you get it?
Yeah. One more time. Give it to me one more time.
This is Salvador Sostres' apology that he issued. As I attempt to highlight the beauty of Ansu's movement in his class as a young player, some expressions were interpreted as racial discrimination. That could not be further from my intentions or opinions, which are very favorable towards the player, as I have always expressed in my match reports since he made his debut. I deeply apologize for the misunderstanding and those who may have been offended.
All right, you ready for my 1 to 10 rating on this bad boy here?
Пожалуйста.
I would give it a 6, and I'll tell you why, Jared. I'll tell you why it's not like a 7 or an 8 or 9 or better. Because he never actually addressed that what he said was racist. He was like, yeah, sorry that I may have offended people.
Yeah, you misunderstood what I never even... First of all... Yeah, go ahead.
And the thing is, like... The gazelle thing I find a little weird, but I guess I kind of get it a little, like that we do compare ourselves sometimes to animals, and a gazelle is a very fast, graceful animal, whatever, okay? But the whole, like, the second part of that, the, like, street runner dude, I feel like that could have easily been left out, or he should have recognized that, like, you know, like that statement was very inappropriate. And so yeah, you know, and
so you give it a 6.
I'd give it a 6, yeah.
I'd probably give it a 4 or 5. That was a pretty bad apology. Okay. I mean, first of all, I agree with you. I mean, the gazelle thing was kind of weird to me too. My soccer coach used to always say in Germany, he used to always say, "Get on your bicycle." That's what, or "Get on your horse." What he would say. So
in English or in German?
He was German, but he would say it in English.
Oh, that would have been so much more epic in German.
Maybe he'd say it in German occasionally, but usually he would say it in English. And so that's what he would say. And that definitely seems... I mean, he said that to everyone, not just me. But I found the gazelle thing kind of weird too. But the second part is so specific. Like a black, specifically street seller. I mean, I guess, yeah, he's black. A black street seller that's like running away from the police, and he even uses like the code word that they use, water.
Right.
And in his apology, he essentially completely ignored what he said. As you said, he never mentioned what he said.
Exactly.
He's just like, oh, no, I think he's a great player. And it's like, you're missing the entire point. Just because you think he's a good athlete doesn't mean you didn't just say something that was insensitive. Like you could say something insensitive to someone you like that's possible.
Oh, for sure.
And also the fact that I feel like calling it racial discrimination was a little cheeky, you know. It's like they never, you know, these people, the racists never want to say racist, you know, like they never want to say racist.
It's weird though, man. I feel like the way Americans and the way Europeans view racism is very differently, and the way they interact with racism. I feel like Americans, I feel like there are a lot of racist Americans that are just like, oh yeah, I'm racist. Whereas,
I think Europeans think they're past it.
Yep.
But they're obviously not, you know, but so it makes them sort of more quote unquote ignorant to it, you know?
Right. Like I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think in like a lot of like sporting events in the States, Americans would make like monkey noises like they do in Europe.
Throw bananas on the field. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think, but I think because they think they're somehow past it, like I don't know, but I don't know if Russia is added in that group of people that are technically past their racism. I don't know if usually when they're talking about Europeans being past racism, I don't know if they include Russia in there, but still, in general, I'm with you. That's why I actually kind of get annoyed when some like Europeans kind of get all high and mighty about Europe in comparison to America, because it's like, I mean, like just like. You're not like problem proof too, like a problem proof just because there's problems here in the U.S.
Well, I think for a lot of European people, they just haven't interacted with enough people of different ethnicities,
right?
Like so they don't have the kind of and not that I'm saying a lot of Americans have this awareness,
like Paris.
Sensitivity.
If you're in Paris or any of those big European cities, I
mean
think
that's a little different, maybe. Yeah, sure.
You just mean on a bigger scale, though.
Right.
Sure.
But even if you go into smaller cities in France or Germany or, there's not a ton of black people there, are there?
Probably not. That's true.
And I mean, I don't know. I feel like I had definitely had some, no disrespect to any of my students in the Czech Republic, but I had some of my students ask me some questions that were, borderline a little racist, to say the least.
Can you give me an example of one?
I mean, just questions about
why are black so aggressive?
Well, no. I had a student ask me about black people and crime, and why, and if black people tend to be like more likely to be criminals than white people.
I mean that's his ignorance.
Because he said, what he said was I saw that there were so many black people in prison. He was watching some documentary, I guess, and realized, had enough awareness, I guess, to realize, like, oh my God, almost every dude in this prison is black,
right?
And so
which is not wrong,
right?
But
I think they just
it always goes back to slavery,
right, for sure, yeah.
So yeah, I'd say that was a pretty weak apology. And by the way, other people did not like the apology either. By the way, the report received widespread condemnation, with Barcelona forward Antoine Griezmann tweeting, "Ansu is an exceptional boy who deserves..." I guess he is a boy. He's 17.
That's true.
I was like, it's so weird that you're calling your teammate a boy. Who deserves respect like any other human being. No to racism and no to bad manners. Oh my gosh! It's so funny. I watched Formula One this morning, and they did that. Their little moments to end racism, and I was like, "This is so corny." Like, oh my god!
Right.
Like, all right,
you got to stay positive.
Put an end racism shirt on for 30 seconds, and then we did our part.
Right. Especially after you win the race, pop it on real quick. Hold your trophy.
They actually. I told you. Did I tell you they made a rule because Lewis Hamilton, who's a strong proponent of Black Lives Matter, they made a rule that when you're after the race, when you're on the podium, which is like where the winners go, obviously, and when you do the post race interview, which the top 3 racers have to do, you have to keep your race suit fully done up. So you can't have like a T-shirt on or something like that, which Lewis Hamilton was doing in the past with like Black Lives Matter or like Arrest the Cops that killed Breonna Taylor. But now he has a Black Lives Matter mask. So,
ooh, there we go.
He still makes it work, I respect it. But yeah.
So I just sent you something, Jared, because I think it's time we. Oh.
Shout out. Spread a little love.
Yeah. Let's.
I don't even know where you are. I got so distracted by what you sent me.
Yeah, but anyways, let's spread some love. This is kind of a crazy story. I wanted to send this your way, Jared, just so you could see some of these pictures and see the story. So this is a story written by Angela, I believe, Hansberger. Yep. I miss restaurants, so I opened my own for a chipmunk. It all started when my uncle sent a tiny wooden picnic table in the mail. In this article, you can see this little chipmunk here chilling at this little tiny picnic table. Did he send
the picnic table specifically for the chipmunk? Or is he just like, this might be a nice piece of decoration?
I think it was just a decoration type of thing, yeah.
Okay.
But it's hilarious. So apparently during mid-April, she got this giant box, and it was from her uncle. who had quite a bit of time on his hands, said COVID shut down his business. I unwrapped layers and layers of bubble wrap, and there was a mini wooden picnic table on which a red marker scrawled out Angela. It was intended for hanging on a tree for squirrels, said Ed, but I took a shortcut and sat it on the porch, putting a few walnuts left over from Christmas on the top. By the time I'd walked the box to the recycling bin, a chipmunk had taken a seat at the table and gobbled up all the walnuts. The next morning, he came back and dined on walnuts again. He seemed eager. So then she makes a makeshift tablecloth.
Do you see what they named him?
What'd they name him? Thelonious?
Yeah, Thelonious Monk.
That is awesome. You know who Thelonious Monk is, right?
Isn't he a rapper? Isn't there a rapper named Thelonious?
No. Well, Thelonious Monk was a jazz pianist. And bebop pianist. Yeah. Yeah, quite amazing piano player.
Maybe I didn't know who this guy. I mean, I know the name.
Right.
But I feel like I've never seen this guy's face before.
Pretty great name, Thelonious. That's a
powerful name. Yeah.
It is, for sure.
This is ridiculous, by the way. Like, there's a full, like, in one of the pictures, there's like a little green egg, which is like a grill thing, and a mini little flower pot. But then if you scroll down a little bit, it gets pretty intricate. There's like a whole bar set up.
Yep.
With in the wood, that's like the backing of the bar. There's like some sort of, it looks like almost, where they do the fire thing on the wood of like a chipmunk.
Yeah.
In it. This is a high quality mini production. They're like legitimate bar stools.
Yeah. Oh, they went all in miniature. On this. All in on it.
This is, jeez. I mean, more power to you. Sometimes I see my neighbor across the street feed the squirrels peanuts, and it makes me mad. Because it's like they're already like all over the place.
You're going to have an army of squirrels by your doorstep soon, Jared. Be careful.
I've actually seen a peanut just sitting on my front window stoop, but then later it was
how
gone.
It all starts.
I think the squirrel put it there and left it there for a bit. Like, I'll come back and get this later.
They're trying. Those squirrels are trying to bait your house, Jared. Be careful.
Yeah, they're like they're claiming their territory. Like,
that's
this is mine. This soon I'm going to be buried in a giant
squirrel
pile
gang
of
wars, dude.
Peanuts.
Some squirrel gang turf. You got to watch.
Yeah, I can't get involved.
But isn't that a crazy story though?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just wanted to share this because I think this is also kind of a fun thing that does relate a little bit to burnout and just what everyone's going through. And I just want to give a shout out to all the people out there who are doing funny and crazy and ridiculous things like this during
spread a little love
during the pandemic. I think it's kind of cool to see what some people are doing, and love reading these types of stories.
Did I tell you about my boss? We were doing the we do these like improv classes I told you about, like every like 3 or 4 months with my coworkers, like my work pays for it or whatever. And he did like a full on bit in the last one, where every like we would go into, so we would do like these breakout room activities, and when you come back from the breakout room, like you go into a breakout room with people, then you come back, and every time he'd come back, he'd be wearing something different.
Really?
And the first time it was subtle, so he had on like a different button down, and then he had like on a blazer, and I was thinking, I was like, is changing clothes? I probably shouldn't have said his name. Is he changing clothes all the time? But then he came back another time, and he was wearing a wetsuit, and I was like, okay, I'm not crazy. And then he had on like I guess you call it like not a pimp suit, but he had on like a furry hat and like a fur coat.
Oh my God,
and he was just doing
hilarious.
this constantly throughout the whole 2-hour session.
So he would just turn his camera off and on again?
Well, no, when we would come back from breakout rooms. So I guess he would turn off his camera as we go back to the breakout rooms, and he'd usually be like, I don't know, 10 seconds or anywhere from 10 seconds to like 30 seconds later than everyone else getting back, and he'd just come back like rushed, but then just be wearing a wetsuit or something.
That's stealthy right there. That is hilarious.
I never realized that this guy was so committed, would be so committed to his own bit. It was kind of impressive. But yeah,
I would say so. Yeah, I would definitely say so.
Let's do some untranslatables.
Let's do it. All right. I guess I'll get us started today with some untranslatable untranslatable. which are idioms, proverbs, axioms, phrases that don't translate one-to-one into English, and we are here, your certified untranslatable professionals, to decipher and decode these for your listening and learning pleasure. So here we go, Jared. I'll get us started with a Croatian phrase, Upala mi sekira umed. My axe fell into honey.
Oh, I've heard this one before. We've done this one before. Does that mean like to fall upon good fortune, get lucky?
Get that ham horn going, my man. You are correct.
I think I'm really. We need to find some sort of game show where you, or I guess we should. Oh, dude, we should totally pitch that. Yeah,
we should.
Because I feel like I'm reaching expert levels at this point.
My
first one is Argentinian Spanish, and it's Estad remando en dulce de leche.
Something about milk.
Yeah, so dulce de leche is
sweet milk or condensed milk, right?
I think it is condensed milk. It is essential. I believe that's what it is. It's like a thick canned milk.
It's really good.
But it's like a darker brown than the condensed milk that we're kind of used to in those white cans that you always see here in the U.S.
Si, senor.
So yeah, it means to be rowing in dulce de leche. To be rowing like a boat.
That's to be like going with the flow, easy and breezy, baby.
I would say the opposite.
Not going with the flow and not being easy and breezy,
That's
baby.
That's exactly what it is. Not going with the flow and not being easy. No. It's a little different, but so if you find yourself rowing in dulce de leche,
you're wishing things would get better.
No. Well, why? Why?
Because things are crummy, bro. Give me that dulce de leche.
I'll kind of give you that. I'll kind of give you that. It's to be in a sticky situation. Like, that's hard to get out of.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm rowing in dulce de leche, man.
I see what you did there. In a sticky situation, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Very clever. This is why you get paid the big bucks here, Jared. That is
to be stuck in a milky situation. See what I did there?
Giggity.
Is condensed milk sticky? I don't think it would be sticky. Would it be?
I think it could be. I think so.
I guess it's sweet, so there's probably sugar in it. So I guess so. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
okay.
Could be. All right, my next one is also Croatian. Kao muha bez glave, like a fly without a head.
Is that like you're running with like a chicken with your head cut off?
I'll give it to you. I will give it to you.
I'm not even confident I know what running with the like a chicken with its head cut off even means. Like, I understand what they're saying, like a chicken keeps, but does that just mean someone's like super hyperactive or super like what does that mean? That person's running like a chicken with their head cut off.
It means they're just going crazy. There's no plan. They're just going crazy.
Okay, all right. It's like, relax. You're running like a chicken with your head cut off, kind of.
Exactly.
Thing. All right.
Exactly.
Okay. That's fair. This is my last one, and it's Armenian. And it's, I guess I don't really know properly how to pronounce this. But it's let's see. I'll translate it, but let's see how close I can get to the actual pronunciation first. Porte te danal. It's really hard. Here, let's see. Oh, they recognized it as French.
Uh-oh. Sacre bleu.
And they're like, did you mean French? And I'm like, no.
No, sir.
Oh, you know what I have to do? I have to use the, here we go. No, I have to use the their actual, here it is.
There we go. Whoa, what? What? One more time?
What was that? Hold on. Porto te dene.
Which means, again, sorry?
Denel, actually. It's Denel, not Dene. To put a belly button into its own place.
That's to put someone in their place, Jared.
Yes. Yeah, it's like revenge or show someone their place, yeah.
Yep, okay.
I'll put your belly button in its place.
Well, at least
it's hard to sound threatening and talk about someone's belly button.
That's true. Well, it depends how you say it. I got one more Croatian one for you today, Jared, and it's Tiko vino večera vodu doručkuje.
Something about wine.
Yeah, very good. Who dines on wine has water for breakfast.
It's like you reap what you sow.
Yes, but this one is a little bit more specific to the wine drinking.
It gives you hangovers, and so you're... That's kind of what I meant by you reap what you sow. If you drink a lot, then you're going to have to pay for it the next day.
There you go. That's what I was looking for. You have to pay the price for whatever you did the night before.
Yeah, that's true. That's an important lesson for the kids out there.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So be careful, kids. Keep it in moderation. Maximum 3 adult beverages when you get to that adult beverage age.
Your buddy that I follow on Twitter actually tweeted about now recognizing, as he approaches his 30s, now recognizing the importance of drinking water between his alcoholic beverages.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe I'm relating this tweet as much as I can. That's very true.
Dude, it's a game changer. It is a complete game changer if you drink water in between your adult beverages, which leads us to staying hydrated, which leads us to our topic for today, which is avoiding burnout. You know, they call it burnout because it gets real hot, Jared, and you got to keep cool by staying hydrated. That is for sure.
That's true.
For sure.
I feel like, well, first of all, how would you define burnout? I feel like I never heard of burnout until I was in Germany.
I thought you were going to say until I met you, and I was about to be very offended, Jared.
No.
I think burnout is just when you are doing something that it could either be very meticulous or it could just be doing the same thing over and over and over again to the point where you're just sick of doing it. You need a break. You need some time to refresh yourself. Burnout is, I think, any time when you are in a job or in school and you're kind of thinking to yourself, you're like, what am I doing here? This is, you're I don't know, you feel tired, you feel exhausted, you're not excited or looking forward to doing your work, all those types of things, I would say.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I would say when you're feeling exhausted or overwhelmed with like work or school, that's kind of work, I guess. And when you for me, I think a lot of times it has to do with not even how much I work, but how long I go without like taking breaks, and sometimes it sneaks up on me. It's not even like, oh my gosh, I've been staying up all night, every night, just burning the candle at both ends,
good
which is
phrase.
a great untranslatable.
Yep.
Or burning the midnight oil is another one.
Yeah.
But it's not even that. It's just like, especially now in this quarantine time, it's just like it's like work is all I do, and it's sort of the only thing that I focus on for most of my life. Well, we
have to be careful right now with for those of us who are working from home, because I feel like work technically never stops because you don't have that divide anymore of, now is my private time. It's not work time. Like, I catch myself checking my emails well into 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. And I probably shouldn't, but it's always in the back of my mind. So I do,
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. I would just say that unexpectedly, burnout has probably increased since the work from home situation. I think a big part of it is not having that separation, like you said, because usually with my job, once I'm done with the day, I close my computer, put it in my bag, and go home from the office. But I don't, and that's such a very clear moment where I'm done with the day. But now, like, I'll be like, all right, I'm done, but I'll not even turn off, like, I have obviously a specific work computer. Like, I'll not even turn off my computer. I'll just walk away from it. And next thing I know, like, 20 minutes later, I find myself sitting in front of it again, looking at something. And I was like, I thought I said I was done. And it's like, how did I find myself here? And it's like, well, I did left it on and walked away. Like, there's not that separation, and it really, it shows. I feel like I can feel it. And I think the other thing about quarantine is that it's harder to go on vacation. Like there's not really that many opportunities to go places, right. and you have to be a lot more creative with how you do vacation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I do want to go back to your question though, Jared, about what is burnout, because I am on healthline.com right now, and I think they have a pretty comprehensive description of this right here. So what is burnout? Coined by the psychologist Herbert Freudenberger, I'm assuming probably a German dude or Austrian dude. In the 1970s, burnout describes a severe stress condition that leads to severe physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion. I think that exhaustion is a big part of it, Jared. Much worse than ordinary fatigue, burnout makes it challenging for people to cope with stress and handle day-to-day responsibilities. So, I've definitely had that before when I was finishing my master's thesis, where there was just some day-to-day stuff that kind of went by the wayside for a while. Yeah.
That's a good one. Mm-hmm. I wrote down some symptoms that I personally have when I'm experiencing burnout.
Oh, let's hear them.
And I imagine you probably have some too.
Never, Jared. I never feel burnout.
I would say lack of motivation.
Oh, for sure.
Like I don't really care. Like I tend to don't really care about what I'm doing. Nothing. Like none of it really feels like it matters.
Right.
Cutting corners.
Oh yeah, taking shortcuts.
Obviously, like exhaustion, tired.
Right. Yeah.
I would say challenge focusing, and not even during the workday, but like outside of the workday. I feel like I'm constantly thinking about what I have to do for work, and that's sort of like at top of mind more than anything else. It's just kind of like always in the back of my mind. Sometimes maybe short-tempered, and I'm not like a yeller or something, but maybe I'm just like less interested in being conversational.
You were screaming at me a lot when I came to visit last weekend, Jared. You were.
That's true, but I was beating you, destroying you in FIFA, so it was only appropriate.
That's fair. Fair enough.
So I think I'm more like just and also
I would add to that and say more irritable.
Yes, I think that's a better term. That's a better term.
Yeah.
And also wanting to isolate more, I think. Just not wanting to do anything.
Or for me, another big one for burnout is I don't reach. I'm already terrible at contacting and reaching out to people anyways, but it's even worse, I think, if I'm experiencing burnout. Just because there is some level of, you feel alone, a little bit reclusive maybe,
and I feel like in the moments during like those burnout times, when you do have a moment to yourself, it's like it is almost like a overwhelming relief. You're like, I don't feel like. Sometimes I do get that way where it's like talking on the phone is exerting energy sometimes, and like I'm so exhausted that I rather just lie here in silence, or by in silence probably means the podcast is playing.
Well, I get very burnt out now just with the sheer amount of Zoom meetings. I mean, I have at least 4 to 6 Zoom meetings a day, depending on the day. And I love my job and I love the work I do, but there are definitely some days where I'm like, that's why I can't, like when I'm done with work, I turn off my computer for a while and I play guitar or do something else because I can't look at the screen.
You know what's interesting? Some meetings I enjoy to see on my calendar, and not even because they're necessarily like exciting, but because they're ones that, and my job, most meetings that we do, we're not turning on our video. Like 99% of the time, video's not on. So like I don't have to worry about sitting there and like looking at the looking attentive or whatever. But usually what I love when I see like a meeting that I just have to sit there for but not say anything, which I have from time to time, or like a couple of those a week, is that's a great time for me to like kind of have an excuse not to work and to have like some downtime. Like I'll have my headphones in, what I used to do sometimes, take those in the hammock specifically. And because it's just on my phone or whatever, and sometimes I can even get the Skype and see the PowerPoints on my phone or whatever. And I would do that, and that would be a nice little break. Or I would use it sometimes. I'm not great at eating, which I think is even more of a thing during the burnout times. Yep. Like I usually don't eat, or I just eat like shit, And so
that's another important aspect, Jared, of Burnout, I think, is avoiding your own self-care and own personal needs. So eating would be one thing, exercising is another.
Shout out to my company because they put in on everyone on all of our calendars a lunch hour where they blocked in our calendars 12 to 1 where you're not allowed to schedule meetings there because people are complaining that they never have a moment to eat or for themselves during the day anymore.
That's smart.
It's just back-to-back meetings. So I thought that was great. A nice move.
I tend to eat throughout my workday, actually, and I'm still doing stuff when I eat. Occasionally I'll take a break, but usually I don't.
I kind of like that, though, because I tend to be sort of an inconsistent timed eater. So sometimes I like to have the flexibility to eat lunch at 2 o'clock, for example, or eat breakfast at 10:30 and then maybe, not eat until dinner or something like that. I like that flexibility because at work, like it's kind of harder, especially if I want to buy something, then it's kind of impossible or at least if I'm buying something at work to like be like, I'm going to work and then and then eat lunch at like 2 o'clock. It's kind of hard. It would be weird to be like, oh, I can't come to that meeting. I'm eating lunch now,
Right.
So I do like that flexibility. But it's still the meetings are exhaustive. All right. I have a conundrum that it's been rattling around in my head for about a week or so. And I thought this is a perfect time to bring it to the podcast. This is the perfect episode for it. So as I mentioned, vacations are hard to come by these days. You talked about for a full summer, you talked about going camping and then you never went anywhere, which I don't blame you, by the way. I probably wouldn't go camping by myself either. But I did go to the middle of woods getaway a couple weeks ago. That was nice, but I'm still itching, and I got a lot of vacation days. And the way my company works, it's like use it or lose it. So so I gotta use it somehow, and it's like I gotta go somewhere. And so my partner recommended to me that that she has the ability to get a free through points or whatever. A free stay at a resort for a week in Mexico.
What?
But all it would cost is a $300-ish plane flight.
That's not too bad. That is not too bad.
And I'm really, I'm struggling. And obviously we know we've talked about it on the pod.
Just do it. Do it.
I was not expecting that from you. I was not expecting that from you. We talk about it on the pod that airplanes are pretty safe. But it just seems so careless, Like it seems kind of careless during a pandemic to go to Mexico on vacation. I don't know. And even though it probably is relatively
pretty safe, yeah.
Especially you're going to be outside for most of the time or in your room or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. It just seems foolish, doesn't it? Or it's like, yeah, it's probably safe, but if I were to get COVID, I would feel like an idiot because it's like, well, why would you be going on vacation during a pandemic? This is like you can't even handle not traveling for a couple months. Like it's just such a I don't know. It seems like such a American like I don't know. You couldn't even not travel during a pandemic so badly that you risked getting COVID.
All I can say, Jared, is 5 words: use it or lose it. That's all I can say.
So you would be down to go to Mexico for $300 essentially. During a pandemic.
Probably not. Probably not.
Oh my gosh. How dare so you just said all that in the talk and you're like, oh, I wouldn't go either.
Well, but. No, I would let me put it this way, Jared. I would really like to go.
I mean, of course I would like to go too. It sounds great.
But I didn't think you would actually go either. I'm not sure.
She's serious about going.
Right. Well,
but I don't think it just seems
it just depends on if you feel if it's safe enough. I would look at. I mean, it's all calculated risk. I think at this point, Jared.
Sure.
Because it's not going to go away anytime soon. So if you're at a resort though, I would think you'd be fairly safe. But I don't know. I also don't want to put my good buddy in danger either. So,
and I'll say this: I'm not. I can't even fully blame my partner for wanting to go or considering it or tossing it up as proposing it as an idea, because I think that like this is also, like you kind of have to in a weird, I don't know, like respect people's burnout and how people because I think obviously a response to a level of burnout and being trapped inside in this, now what's turning into a very gloomy state for the next 6 months or so.
Right.
And I think that it's just like there is a feeling of trappedness, and especially mixed with that burnout and just working all day, and that's kind of all you do, where it's like, right. If you start doing the math in your head with your Twitter math, you can be like, this is probably relatively safe to do. I saw the Twitter headline saying that they've got good filters and circulation on the airplanes. It's probably a low chance. Granted, I don't want to run into any Ken or Karens on the airplane. Right. That is also kind of in itself a fear.
There's always a risk, Jared. Always.
And I've recently seen like videos on social media of people at the airport, and just the amount of people saying they're eating and nose. I get so mad at people with their nose sticking
out.
I just don't feel like that's going to help my burnout. Also, is the level of anxiety I'm just going to constantly have anytime I'm walking around at the resort and people get too close, or I'm in the airport and I see these idiots with their nose sticking out or their chin strap. Dude, I got so mad at this old guy standing in front of me at the grocery store the other day. Just to myself,
strapping it.
No, it was his nose, and he was with his significant other, and she had hers properly on, and I'm like, bro, and I'm like, how do you not get? Oh my god,
you should have sneezed.
I will just because because then I'm no better than him. I just fume silently inside. That also doesn't help my burnout.
That's true. That is true. You need to get it out, Jared.
Do you feel like you're experiencing burnout? I mean, you're kind of new back to work.
I don't think I experience like hardcore burnout. No. I think just some days it's more like I would call it more Zoom fatigue, where I've just been on so many Zoom meetings. I just don't want to look at a screen for a while. But yeah, yes. I would say the last time I think I really experienced like true burnout was maybe my last year of grad school when I was finishing up my master's thesis. I just felt like this level of emptiness, which is another part of burnout, Jared, that I think is something that people need to be aware of, is at least for me personally, I did have this like weird feeling of, just kind of emptiness. Like, why am I doing this? Is what I'm doing the right thing?
Oh, interesting. It kind of seemed pointless you're like, why am I even doing this?
Exactly.
Why do I care this much?
Yep. Yep.
I can understand that. That's some serious senioritis, where some of that it might be a little bit like, especially at the end of high school or undergrad, maybe it's a little bit more, it makes a little more sense. But I definitely got maybe not high school, because I started a new high school, a junior year, so it wasn't the same sort of burnout from being there for 4 years or whatever. But definitely at the end of college, like senior year in general, but definitely second semester. Like, it's not that I didn't care about classes, but I feel like I just started getting annoyed at my classmates and at students, not just specifically within my class, but students. Sometimes, like if I see, like, I was quick to roll my eyes at like a really drunk student, or like someone like that was belligerent and whatever in some way or another. I'm like, I can't. And not even that I can't handle it. It's just like, really? We're still doing this? No, still no control after 4 years?
Right. You should probably know by then. Just have a slight idea of how that works.
Like, we had someone in our fraternity that let's just say he liked to make a lot of lists, and he would just be known for being just like past belligerent, and it was just like, how are you still living like this? Like, nothing's changed.
Just getting schmammered every weekend.
And I think just some of that was just like, all right, I think I'm ready for some adulthood, which then after you pay bills for a couple months, you're like, I don't know, it wasn't that bad in college.
Right. Could be worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Could be
worse. Do you suffer from seasonal affectiveness disorder? Seasonal affective? Yeah, that's how you say it.
What's sad?
That is when as the seasons change and there's less sunlight and less ability to go outside. I guess I kind of talked about this a little bit. Less ability to go outside. It affects your mood. It can cause depression. It can cause trouble sleeping or fatigue, and probably various other symptoms that I don't know because I'm not looking at WebMD. But yeah, it has a negative effect on your overall emotional well-being and mood because of just that lack of that vitamin D and sunlight and able to go outside.
Oh, I think there is for sure a difference. I mean, it's just crazy, Jared, the amount of difference I think sunshine can make. You know, like I remember when all this turmoil started in January and February. You know, February I was in Bali, and when I think of like one of the, in theory, quote unquote, most stressful times of my life, which should have been then, I was pretty relaxed, dude. Like, and I think some of it was the environment, like just that beautiful sunshine every day, you know, just being, there's a difference, I think.
I would say in general, I feel like I don't suffer from seasonal affectiveness disorder, but I think it's hitting me now that we're in the pandemic and I don't have the ability to do anything. So like the main things that were my like respites to maintain my insanity, like outside, are no longer options, whether it be biking or even walking around or playing soccer or whatever. Like I can't really do that at least comfortably. I can still do it, I guess.
Right.
And so just as I think about those options not being there to me anymore, and as we're still in a pandemic, and now I'm going to be kind of stuck inside, I think it's hitting me a little bit. But as I told you, I think it's about time that I get back into that piano at this point. Now that
I agree.
I'm stuck inside and scared that I'm not going to have anything to do. There's no better time.
Yeah, you got no other excuses either.
Yeah.
No other excuses. But I do think that's something that's good, Jared, regardless if you are experiencing burnout or not. I think like either picking up an old hobby or starting a new hobby can be a great way to kind of help yourself out of burnout. Are there any other ways that you know of or that like you would recommend to our listeners out there in terms of kind of overcoming burnout a little bit?
I don't know if I have tips. I mean, I told you I was going to complain for an hour, and according to my calculations, we're only at about 50-ish minutes. I have a little more complaining.
Okay, good.
What's another one? I mean, maybe video games. Oh, dude. Definitely video games. So I am now, anyone that's listened to 30 seconds of this podcast knows I like Formula One. And the other day I had a recommendation for what was it? Maybe Forza or Assetto Corsa or something like that. Some car game, some car racing game. I got like a recommendation for, and I watched this video of this guy with like the full sort of setup. It wasn't anything crazy expensive. It's not like the ones that like Formula One drivers use to learn it. But just like a simple little steering wheel and manual transmission and pedals. And I started looking up. I was like, I want this. And I really wanted to get into video games. And I really wanted to buy like specifically racing games. And then obviously I'd probably still get FIFA and stuff like that and play that all the time. Right. But as a car person and as a racing fan, I was like, this is really this is really looking attractive right about now. And maybe I'll save it for Christmas and get it for myself for a Christmas present. But I would need everything. So I have a PS3. I probably need to update to at least a PS4.
Yep. I might wait a couple months and just get a 5 maybe. Might be worth it.
Yeah, but that's more money. Then I'd need obviously the pedals, the shifter, the steering wheel, the game. It looked so fun, dude.
It would be pretty cool for sure.
I would say, and I bet you that would be a great stress reliever to just be able to drive through a city and race like a professional with this chair. And I really want that. I really want it. Maybe I'll have to ask my parents for Christmas, like a child.
There you go. There you go. You should. You totally should. It's good though to have some type of outlet, whether that be a video game. For me, I think a lot of what's helped has been music and guitar. You know.
Sure.
So yeah, I think the big thing too is some people, I think, also need to get out of the denial stage and just accept the fact that they might be experiencing burnout. That's okay. It's normal. Mm-hmm. And I think a big thing is to take a mental health day. Take a day where you can get a lot of sleep, maybe even go for a run or lift some weights or play some soccer or tennis or do something active.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned that the first time I heard about burnout was probably when I lived in Germany. And that's in German, the phrase for burnout is burnout. Mm-hmm. I feel like burnout culturally as an idea is not respected here in the U.S. I mean, it's kind of obvious by the amount of vacation people tend to get, by the way workers are treated, that like the idea of burnout is not really respected. And we have this, as we like to say sometimes, this hashtag grind all day mentality.
Hashtag and where it's like hard.
If you're experiencing burnout, it's just because you're weak. You don't.
That's right.
You're not a peak performer. You're not meant for
this. Hustling, Jared. Hustle.
And I kind of disagree with that. I think I would say, but
well, that's why I'm a hustler and you're not, Jared. So.
But I feel like I give into it as an American because I feel like to a certain sometimes I feel like I like to give the impression, and a lot of people like to give the impression. I like to give the impression specifically to people I work with that like I'm always sort of working, not always working, but like I want them to know that I'm working long hours and that like if something needs to get done and I'm up until like 7 or 8 o'clock, like I'm doing it. Right. And I feel like that is like, even though that is sort of like unhealthy in a way, I guess. Maybe, sometimes that has to happen, maybe. But like using that as some sort of virtue that I'm showing my superiors seems kind of like a uniquely American virtue that I'm trying to portray. And I feel like I'm by no means the only one that does that. I mean, we've talked about having friends that you every time you talk to them work, oh God, I'm so busy with work, man, I'm swamped with work. Like every time you talk to them, that seems to be what's happening. It's like, so that's just your life. You're just always swamped with work.
Always swamped, always working.
And it's like, or are you just trying to like portray, I don't know. Is that, yeah. And so I just think that it's not respected by any means, the idea of burnout here in the U.S. You're like, oh, you're not working hard enough if you're experiencing burnout.
Well, I definitely don't think we don't recognize the need for the whole work-life balance, I would say, Jared.
Self-care.
Yep. Yeah, it doesn't really exist, I would say. Doesn't really exist.
I agree with that. I'd say another way that I like to soothe myself during a time of burnout, which I can't really do as well anymore, is, and I'm going to admit this here on the podcast proudly, I enjoy taking a bath every now and again. I'll even put some Epsom salt in that bitch. I'll light a candle. I'll make myself either tea, coffee, or more likely some alcoholic beverage.
There you go.
And really just zone out for like a good 30, 40 minutes. That's a great way to relieve some burnout. Have some Sade on in the background.
Just be chilling like
some
a
felonious monk.
Oh, for sure, without a doubt. Some Charlie Parker, all sorts of good stuff.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I think just having some type of way to chill, relax.
So all you have is music. That's all you have to go to. Does that always satisfy you as far as burnout?
No, also I have lifting as well. Lifting, I've been getting into kettlebells. That's been a cool learning experience. Got some new ones, by the way, on the way, Jared. Got a 50-pounder coming. Got a big boy.
Ooh. So I know you also like to read. Does when you're in the sort of burnout mode, which obviously you might not be in right now, but you have been in before, is that To Kill a Mockingbird? I don't know.
No, this is Meditations.
Grows? Okay.
Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
Oh, I've heard that name before.
Yep. He was
I guess
emperor back in the day.
I'm kind of going to already answer the question. I was going to say, is reading something you like to go to kind of soothe yourself? But if you're specifically reading a book about meditation, that's probably what you would. That probably is.
Meditations are actually like it's kind of like a journal of things Marcus Aurelius observed and learned and thought about.
I see.
But still, yeah,
it's not like a heavy read or an intense read, I imagine. Is it? Well, let me ask you this.
Depends how you define either of those terms.
So is reading something you'd go to as a soothing mechanism?
I just like to read. I don't know if it's a soothing mechanism. I just enjoy it. Here, would you like me to read you some?
Sure, why not?
Marcus Aurelius. We'll start with book 1. All right. There's all sorts of good stuff on here. All right. So book number 1. Let's see here. Oh, this is probably one of my favorites from book 1, Jared. This is titled. This is one of his 7th meditation, book number 1. This is what he learned from Rusticus. Is I believe the gentleman's name. The recognition that I needed to train and discipline my character. Not to be, and this is like what he learned from Rusticus, not to be sidetracked by my interest in rhetoric, not to write treatises on abstract questions or deliver moralizing little sermons or compose imaginary descriptions of the simple life or the man who lives only for others, to steer clear of oratory, poetry, or belles lettres, which would be like pretty letters, like when you are trying
like
to
flowery writing,
right? Not to dress
ironically, using a French word is kind of flowery in itself.
That is true. I think then it might have been a Latin word, but anyways.
Oh, okay. You kind of said it like a French word.
Right. Well, it's spelled Belleslettres, which to me looks kind of French. Anyways, this was also translated into English. So, anyways,
what language was it originally in?
He probably would have written in Roman, Greek, Roman, probably Roman, Latin, I guess. I'm not sure what language Marcus Aurelius would have written in. Anyways, I'm not done with Rusticus yet, Jared. So here we go. Not to dress up, just to stroll around the house or things like that. To write straightforward letters like the one he sent my mother from Sinusa, and to behave in conciliatory way when people who have angered or annoyed us want to make up. To read attentively, not to be satisfied with just getting the gist of it, and not to fall for every smooth talker. I have to be careful with that on this podcast, people, because Jared is a very smooth talker. I can't always fall for what he says. And for introducing me to Epictetus's lectures and loaning me his own copy. So that was like something he learned from the individual Rusticus. So yeah,
I like that. That's and there's just like a bunch of those little stories essentially, or
when I'm done reading
lessons.
It, you can borrow it.
I that would be nice. Thank you.
Yep. I have a lot of books I've been thinking about, like I need to read over again or read them and then do something with them instead of just keep them sitting on my shelves collecting dust.
That's how I feel about my keyboard right now. I need to do something with it rather than have it sit here next to me.
That's fair.
Collecting dust.
You know what you could do to get you ready for playing your keyboard, Jared?
Listen to some music that would inspire me.
Yes, sir. And I think our song of the pod today might fit for that.
I don't know if it would inspire me to play piano. But I definitely, there's something like I definitely enjoy it musically very much. Like the way it's very simple. It's a simple beat and essentially just him rapping. I mean, obviously it's written, but I feel like it's trying to give the sensation. Well, the songs, by the way, is by Toby Nwigwe. I put something like that. I don't know exactly how to say it, but I feel like
Nwigwe. Yeah, I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure.
And the song is called "Clearing My Mind." And it seemed, first of all, so it's very like it feels very stream of thought or stream of consciousness in the way he's rapping, and it really does feel like he is sort of like unloading like the stressors and everything that's sort of on his plate or on his mind in his life, and sort of the things that he's struggling with that he kind of just has to accept as his existence. But these are the challenges that he just and as I was listening to the song, I mean, I enjoyed it, and I was like, man, sounds like Toby's experiencing some burnout.
Right? No,
seems like he has a lot going on that he needs to sort of take some time, for himself.
Right. The thing I really like about the song is like there is some kind of trippy guitar parts in there that sound fantastic. And some keyboards, I think, as well in there. Yeah, it's a good one, but I agree with you. It definitely sounds like he is getting his feelings out through this song. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it's great, and it was the whole time I was waiting for some sort of hook or some sort of chorus or something. But it was just like as I said, it was like a stream of thought for I don't know 3 minutes or something like that. But but it was very compelling. I never got bored with it. I liked it a lot. I feel like I need to, because I've played some of this stuff for this guy, from some of this guy's stuff to you before, and I've always liked what I've listened to, and I feel like I need to do a proper dive on him. I've only listened to some songs on YouTube, but I need to do a proper like album dive on this guy, you know.
Those dives can be fun too,
especially if you, because you know, I've done those dives before and been like, I don't really like this person as much as I thought I did. I just like this one song. But I've also done those dives and been like, okay, you got a new like legit fan, Hiatus Coyote. That was just like, I like, this is a song of the pod. But then I was like, I'm gonna keep listening to this, and I listen to them all the time now. I love when that happens.
Yeah, you gotta experience some new stuff in order to know what else you can like, you know.
And that can happen to the listener too, because the song will be on the Song of the Pod playlist, by the way.
It will.
Check it out.
Absolutely. Most definitely. Check it out. Yep. Untranslatable Song of the Pod playlist. It will be a good one. Toby Nwigwe.
Right? Okay, yeah, sure.
Right? I got to be careful when I say that. Don't want to misspeak on that one.
But end check up like it out. That professor.
Right. Oh God. Yeah. No kidding. No kidding. Well, Jared, I think the biggest thing about, since we are coming to the end of the episode today, the biggest thing about burnout is, I think finding something that will break you out of that spell or that routine. Go somewhere new for a little bit. Go for a hike. Go for a jog. Call up a friend you haven't talked to in a while. I think there's a lot of different things you can do just to kind of break out of that monotonous of if you're always doing the same thing over and over again, you know. Get takeout from a restaurant you really like to change it up or something, you know.
And that was big at the beginning of quarantine, that like finding new hobbies or finding hobbies that you can do at home and all that stuff. And I don't know about the rest of the people that I saw talk about that stuff mostly on social media, but I've definitely gotten a lot lazier from that very gung-ho, ooh, I'm gonna do insanity every day, and I'm gonna be a diligent pianist, and I'm gonna, get back to it, and even the stuff that you just started at the beginning of the pandemic, pick it back up, or keep going, I guess. Maybe I'm the only lazy one,
right?
But I doubt it.
The other thing is I think people need to not be too hard on themselves. You know, sometimes people are so hard on themselves with what's going on. We're going through unprecedented times. It's okay if you need a day, a mental health day. But also, make sure whenever I start to get kind of feeling down, Jared, I have kind of a goofy little checklist. Number one, I do, have I had enough food and water that day? Because that will affect your mood. I don't care who you are. Yep, I do not care who you are. That can be a big one. Also, have I exercised in the last day or two? Especially if I've been working out a lot and if I'm sore, I might take a day off here and there. But sometimes even on a day off, I might feel a little odd, and then might even just go and do a short, quick little workout. So
that's better than nothing, I guess.
Right. I'm telling you, dude, those kettlebells are they're a game changer.
Yeah,
they are a game changer.
I just saw someone on Instagram doing this, so I started doing it. But this guy was talking about to work on his grip strength, he grabs a kettlebell by the bell part of it and palms it.
That would definitely work on your grip strength.
Yeah, and so I was doing that at work the other day, just with my hand dangling from my desk for a minute.
Right.
I was gonna say a couple of minutes, but I was like, it was probably more like a minute.
Right. Feels like the longest minute ever while you're holding it like that.
Yeah.
I think another big key too is knowing how to ask for help helps a lot as in some ways also I think as a preventative measure for burnout, because if you've been working really hard,
like a therapist, or
it depends what kind of help you need. Well, exactly. Depends on what kind of help you need. Sometimes you might just need help at work. You might need someone to help you if you have too big, too much
Pick
work.
Up the load.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that is what really causes a lot of burnout, Jared, is you just spread yourself too thin. Like we said, you're burning the candle at both ends.
That's
and so asking for help. Mm-hmm.
That's definitely a problem for me at my job because, I get a lot of requests for stuff, and sometimes I definitely get to a point, and for some reason, 80% of the requests are urgent. It's always urgent,
right?
And so it's sometimes you never want to say no or ask for help, or at least I rarely want to ask for help. So it's I'll do it. Next thing you know, it's all right, I didn't expect to be up working until 8 o'clock, but you have to satisfy all these urgent requests.
Right. That's why to all of our listeners out there, whenever I text Jared, I always text him with urgent, super urgent. Please respond ASAP.
All caps.
For sure, all caps. You better believe it.
Yeah. Better believe I just have many panic attacks all day. Every time I open a text, I'm like, oh God. And you're like, exactly. Hey, urgent. How's it going?
Right. Extremely urgent. Please respond now.
It's very important that I know you're doing well and having a great day.
Exactly. Yeah, dude, I think don't be afraid to reach out to someone to help you in whatever way you need help is a big way to help either prevent burnout or if you are in the thick of things with burnout. And like I said, don't be too hard on yourself. I feel like especially to all of our listeners in the States, we're not very good at saying this is too much. And sometimes we do bite off more than we can chew. Sometimes it's okay to ask for help, and I know I'm not always great at that, but I guarantee you, Jared, if I start feeling very burnt out, that is something I'll probably be doing, is asking somebody for help, without a doubt.
Yeah. Good. That's
Jared,
healthy.
anything else you want to add regarding burnout?
I'm getting that car setup, that racing setup for PlayStation or Xbox or whatever. I don't know which system yet, but I'm getting it.
PlayStation.
That's going to be my treat yourself, my self-care. I'm doing it. I'm committed to it because it looks so cool and I want it.
Yeah, I would say why not? If you enjoy it, that's how I generally justify if I end up getting another guitar, Jared, or building one. is do I get enjoyment out of it? Yes, I do. Will I use it? If I do, might be worth it. So don't be afraid to treat yourself. And let us know at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com how you treat yourself. You can find us on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast, and see all sorts of great clips and other things. Check us out on YouTube if you want to see the serene background I have behind me to help me stay grounded and centered and not get too stressed or burnt out. What else, Jared? Also, 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher, and let us know how we can make this podcast better for you. So as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, dziękujemy, muchas gracias, shisha, and do svidania. That's right. Crank that up, Jared. Crank that up.
I feel like this song in itself helps tackle my burnout. This is a real chill song.
Do you just have this in the background towards the end of your workday when you're like, all right, we're almost done. So close. You just play it on loop for like 10 minutes.
I mean, between oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Between between actually doing the podcast and editing it, I probably do listen to this song a good amount of time. It's a jam, dude. I love it.
It's not bad, dude. I'm telling you, just a couple good little guitar effects, and you're good to go. Like, that's one of the ones that somehow makes it go backwards from whatever you do.
Yeah, it's kind of trippy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, dude.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to come to the German hour this week. I think you honestly turned me off with the breakout rooms. I'm not even kidding. I think that's...
which is ironic because we haven't had any yet. Yeah, we haven't had any
All right,
yet.
well, if you promise you're not going to bring it up, I'll happily be at the next one.